Hi, my name's MJ Wivell, and I'm the CEO of a software engineering company called BTI 360. And I'd like to share a story with you, but before I do, I have a question for you. Are you using your professional skills outside of your 9-to-5 job? The other day, I had one of my clients come up to me and say, "Hey, MJ, I really believe these Kanban and Agile techniques that you're teaching could really be used in my husband's automobile shop." And through some dialogue, I learned that this automobile shop was one of the premier high-performance shops in the Washington, D.C. metro area. And these guys were super strong at their craft. They just needed a little help on the business operations side. And so I asked my client, I said, "Well, what is the thing that you guys need to work on?" And she said, "We just really got to improve the shop efficiency. If we could figure that out, a lot would change." And so I said, "Well, why don't we do a little bit of demand and capacity analysis and understand the real issues?" And so first I asked her, I said, "What kind of jobs do you guys do?" And she goes, "Well, we really do two kinds of jobs. We do gravy jobs, which are like brake repairs and oil changes. And we do these high-performance jobs, which is the jobs that we're really passionate about." And so I asked her, I said, "Well, do these jobs pay any different?" She goes, "Yeah, actually, the gravy jobs are $85 an hour, and the high-performance jobs are $115 an hour." And I said, "Okay, well, now that we kind of understand the demand, the work coming in, why don't we look at the capacity? Why don't we look at the team actually doing the work?" And she said, "Well, okay, well, we got 4 guys on the team. We have 1 service manager who's doing the scheduling, and then we got 3 technicians. But we actually have a problem with the technician side. We only have 1 guy that can do all the high-performance work with his skill set. And in fact, we have 5 months worth of backlog on the high-performance side, and he's spending 50% of his time doing gravy jobs." And I said, well, why would he do that?" She goes, "Well, the reason that is because gravy jobs, they pay. Because a brake job, you can get paid that day for that work. A high-performance job might take a month to get paid." So I did a little bit of calculation, and through that calculation, I learned that if they switched that person to doing the revenue that that 1 guy generated could increase by 15% if they just changed the work that he was doing. So he said, "Let's change the way we're getting paid, and let's have him focus on all of the high-performance work." So after we did the demand and capacity analysis, we said, well, let's figure out how we could increase the flow of the cars through the shop. So the next piece was we had the team sit down and say, "Hey, let's visualize the workflow." And what resulted, and what you're about to see here, is a Kanban board that the team came up with. This was about the 3rd iteration of the work that they did. And what we came to find through this work is that this Kanban board drove 3 significant changes for them. The first change was the scheduling. The service manager was able to have transparency into the system on what cars were being worked on at what times. And so he was able to help get cars worked on faster and through the system. The second change was that the guys decided to move up diagnostics as the first thing they were going to do in the morning. So the service manager could order the parts, and by 11 o'clock they would have all the parts they would need to get the car done that day rather than the next day. And the third change, we actually had a customer come in and say, "Hey, when's my car going to be done?" And the service manager looked up and said, "You see that right there? That your car is next in line to be worked." So it provided transparency to the customers. The great news about this, in 1 month of making these changes, we increased revenue to the shop by 50%. Extraordinary change. Not only that, employee morale went through the roof because these guys were processing more cars. They happened to get paid more. And not only with that, we were able to then take that money, reinvest it back into the team so that they could get skilled in high-performance work, so we'll be able to spend more time doing that work. And what's really exciting about that is these changes happened last November 1st, and we're now in May, and the changes, these guys have a 60% increase in revenue, not the 50 anymore. So these changes have been sustainable. And the owner, the client came back to me and said her husband, the owner, had a permanent smile on his face through these changes, which was really exciting. And so we have some super highly skilled business leaders and engineers in the room. And my question for each of you is, what about your talents? There are small businesses, organizations, and churches that need help out there. And so I want to challenge all of you to stop waiting and start giving, because you just may change somebody else's world. Thanks.